Let me make sure I got everything hooked up. It went a little crazy right there for
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
second.
I think we're live.
But I think
yeah.
we're live. I think we're on.
We're good.
What's up?
It's good, man. It's good. Like Amanda said when I walked in, hey, it's Monday again. I said, it's Monday again. Wow.
It is Monday. And guess what? I don't know if you can see. I got my new braces on today.
Oh, really? Wait,
Yeah.
Invisalign?
Invisalign.
Oh,
I've had
nice.
Invisalign before, but my teeth were so jacked up.
You had to go. You had to go for a second round.
Yeah. The first round was 67 weeks.
Holy cow!
And this
So-
round's 34 weeks.
man,
But you know what?
That's not bad.
This is what I'll tell people, like who are like self-conscious or anything about
Yeah.
anything really. Just go get it fixed.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
Well,
I'm
you know, I
like,
gotta do
and
that.
people always say, oh, I wish I would have done this, 10 years ago. That's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. When I got my teeth, straighter,
You felt better about yourself.
I felt better. You know,
Yeah.
I
You started smiling.
I smile more, like
Yeah.
showing teeth, because people always say smile. I'd go,
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that.
But
I've
I
got to do
never
the
show
same
teeth.
thing. Because I let my wisdom teeth come in. My wisdom teeth drove me crazy in my 20s.
uh-huh.
And I let them come on in, and I jacked up my teeth. So my bottom row of teeth are really crooked. So I've got to do the same thing. I was talking to my dentist
Let me
about
see.
it. Oh,
Yeah, they're messed up.
They're all messed up. They're sticking out different
They
directions.
look like the Appalachian Trail.
Hey, I did something. I made an eye appointment. I made an eye appointment to get real glasses. I've been wearing reading glasses for years,
Uh-huh.
and I said I've got to have some real glasses.
And then you know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get the Dollar General glasses anyway.
Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing. I stepped up from that to the Walgreens. So
Uh-huh.
it's $20 a pop. For those, and
But
I break them like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
So now so we got a little self improvement thing going on. We didn't realize it.
Yeah. Well, I was talking. I was like, he's like, I don't want you to keep you in braces forever. I said, I don't
Yeah.
mind. I waited 40 years for them.
So you can't chew gum. What's the restrictions on that?
I can do whatever I want to. I just got to take
Really?
them out.
Oh, you take them out.
Yeah, I can take them out. I take them out and I change once a week.
You got to crank on it. They crank it down every
No,
night.
no. The,
Crystal don't crank it
the
down every night in your
Invisalign, they weld studs in your like little, I guess like little places where they can attach, because it's all Invisalign. Invisalign's plastic.
Yeah, I mean, I would
And
have never been able to
the
tell.
liners are all plastic, but they I would say the best way to describe it, little studs that they put like the epoxy filling that holds them into place,
Yeah,
and they tug on certain parts of your teeth. And like I said, I mean, if they would have had Invisalign, Invisalign 10 years ago are not what they are today. Like, they can do things faster
yeah.
and easier
That's
with
good to hear.
Invisalign. And
Come to think of it, I haven't seen anybody with like braces in a long time. Traditional braces.
but I take them out when I'm gonna eat, and then I take them out when. That's about the only time I take them out.
So you've got them out all the time.
You're supposed to have them. Hey,
I couldn't
I
resist.
resemble that remark. You're supposed to wear them like 22 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I sleep in them, I eat in them, keep my
That's-
rubber bands in.
Hey, well, that's good to hear. I mean,
But-
because I'm thinking the same thing. I may go do that eventually.
But it ain't cheap. But
Yeah,
you know what?
You gotta look good.
Beauty is expensive.
You're not kidding, man. You got to be looking good, especially now that you're on the air. I mean,
Yeah.
your personality.
So, but yeah, I mean, I was like, I can't believe I waited this long to do this, but it's
Yeah.
fun.
It doesn't
I
sound too bad.
It's not bad at all.
You know what?
What?
We ran together yesterday.
We did. We did. We had a good time. We did, and we ran with another one of our friends, Mrs. Pollyanna,
Yeah, she was. I was glad to see her.
and
I'm
we
glad
saw
she came
Mr.
out.
Billy Taylor out there.
Yeah, we saw
and-
some of our old friends out there. It was
Yeah,
kinda nice.
we saw our guest, one of our guests, the guest who's coming up. We saw his wife out there with
Yeah.
Rhonda.
Yeah, who was
Rhonda
on last
Bear.
week.
Yeah, who was on last week, and so it wasn't not nearly as hot. I don't think the
No,
humidity
it wasn't.
was
The humidity
up.
wasn't as bad. Yeah.
I ran this morning, and they said that the humidity was like 88%.
Oh my God,
And I
that's
said,
killer. Yeah.
that's because last week it was in the 90%. So
Yeah.
it
So
felt
actually,
better.
you caught a break. Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem like you caught a break. I mean, it's a scorcher out there today, but
but it was funny because at the same time last week we were running like 10:30s, and this morning I think we ran 9:50s,
yeah.
and it felt a lot easier. And
And-
I think that was strictly because of the difference in the humidity and the temperature.
Did you have a better run today or yesterday?
I thought I did both of them.
Felt
Both of them
about
felt
the same.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had pretty good
I ate a lot
yesterday.
of Mexican food yesterday, and it powers me. The Mexican food powers me. I
Oh,
had
yeah.
a big burrito with some refried beans and some rice. Eey, but it was good.
That sounds good.
Some
Sounds
al
good.
pastor.
I think we'll run a few miles this evening. My wife called me earlier and said, "Hey, you want to run a little bit this evening?" I said, "Yeah, I think I'll do it." So,
Yeah, you doing the push-ups with her?
she challenged me to do that. I haven't done it yet,
Oh,
which is unlike me. But
yeah.
I gotta get with it.
Which I see you're doing the 22 push-ups a day.
Yeah, I may have to jump in on that. I did a challenge with some people from Tifton where you did 100 a day. Yeah, and we did it for like I wound up doing 7,400 push-ups.
7,400
And
push-ups.
I can't remember how long, what the duration was, but I wound up doing 7,400 in that period of time. But I was busting them out.
Oof. Eesh. I don't know if I've done 7,400 in my life.
Well, I was doing multiple hundreds a day. I mean, I was,
Uh-huh.
I wasn't doing them all at one time, but I was, breaking down when you get started, you do 20 or 25, and you feel it pretty good. But after you get going, I mean, you can knock out 50 to 60 or even 70, and it's like, hey, I can do that in one failed swoop.
I did do some push-ups last week, and I'm going to do some more because I've been doing a little bit of weightlifting, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to do the weights and the push-ups.
So you're on that
and
program? I mean,
yeah.
you are doing the program.
I'm trying to ease my way into it because the first couple of days I was really sore.
We need a challenge, Rob. We need a challenge.
Okay.
What kind of challenge?
Come up
can
with
we
a
do?
challenge,
Let's think about a challenge, and we'll report back on that. What do you say?
and then
I mean-
we'll ask people who've been on the show to do their challenge. Maybe our guest today will do a challenge.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't
We need
think.
some suggestions. Any suggestions? Give us a suggestion. Something we can do.
Yeah.
We can report back on. That'd be good.
Yeah.
You know
and
what
we
we
can
used to
give
do
weekly updates on.
when I was younger, much younger. And I remember my brother used to go to the gym all the time. The whole gym as a whole down at Lake Park, it used to be like a bicep contest. Who could put
Mhm.
the most on their biceps in like a month, and that sort of thing. And I don't know if that's the way we need to go, but something to think about.
Eesh. Yeah, we might need to do a bicep challenge.
Yeah, I could use a bicep challenge right now. It's been a long time.
All right. Do you want to bring in our next guest?
Let's do
We're
it.
going to talk.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Come on in. Come on in.
Come
He's
on over,
over here
Paul.
reading a book, or he has his calendar out. He probably.
a thinking
he's
man's runner.
got his map out. Yep. Go ahead. Talking to the microphone. Tell everybody hello. Hello. Oosh. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I didn't hear you either. Let's see.
Let's see. You are. Up. There you go. Now say it.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Whoa,
all right.
whoa! Now you got a little echo effect, but no.
Paul, it's great to have you, man.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah. thanks for
Paul
coming.
Brown, Mr. Paul Brown, the legendary runner out of Valdosta, Georgia.
I can't wait to hear about this. I mean, I've been hearing about it, kind of, from
Probably
other
the-
sources.
Probably the most obsessive runner in Valdosta. Slow but obsessed.
Slow but obsessed, and you are a maniac.
Truly.
And by maniac,
A marathon maniac.
a marathon maniac, a 50-stater who are working to be a 50-stater. Am I correct?
Correct.
Paul,
how-
how many have you done? How many marathons have you ran?
So far, I have done 45 marathons in 44 states plus DC.
Wow, man.
And if 2020 was not 2020, I would only have 2 states to go. But this year, I have run 0 marathons.
Yeah.
Is-
Are you
when
in
w-
marathon shape, you think?
Am I in marathon shape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I,
So
I, I ran like 6 whole miles last week, and I think 4 the week before that. I'm good.
that's how you do it, huh?
No, I've actually been running a lot better in the last, probably the last 3 months, and not really sure why I'm running better, and just happy doing it.
Good. That's great.
I think I had my mileage is higher than it's ever been for a weekly basis.
Well, your profession is a educator
yes,
with the Valdosta City School Systems, and so you've had a lot of time off, not necessarily off of daily living, because you also have a family, you have a daughter and a wife, and I'm sure a honey-do list that's a mile long, but you've had some extra time to run. Have you been using it to run? Or are you still running early in the morning and just
still
doing your
running
thing?
early in the morning. So I try to use my time wisely and try to run before my daughter's up. That way, if she needs any attention, I've got it for her. But I got home this morning and went swimming before she even got up. So makes me happy.
So you're an early riser.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm also early to bed.
It makes
I'm
a
not
man
early to
healthy, wealthy,
bed,
and
but
wise, right?
you know, I was laying down on the couch last night, and it was like the sun's still out. Now I don't know if it was the sun was down by the time I actually went to sleep, but yeah, I was laying on the couch and I was done, and the sun was still out, and I felt a little. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't like to waste
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
I know what you mean.
daylight, but then again, I was tired.
You wear a lot of hats, I'm sure you
Yeah.
were.
Now, I got up at 5:30 Sunday morning. Is that kind of about what you do, or get up earlier than that?
I'm more like 6 o'clock these days.
Yeah.
Earlier in Corona, I was more like 4:30
Yeah.
running, and now it's kind of slacked back to 6 a.m. But I'm seeing the handwriting on the wall. Realize I need to be getting back up about maybe 5:30, and then move it back to 5 when
Yeah.
school starts back.
How does that affect your day, especially when school's in? I mean, if you get up at 5:30 or 6 and you go running before school, I mean, do you catch that? Do you hit that lull in the day where you're wiped out?
I don't. I'm high energy all day long at the school.
Wow.
And my students know if I don't have enough rest.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm going to bed early, and as long as I'm running, everything is good.
That's great because unfortunately I hit that lull. We ran yesterday morning. We only went 5 miles. It wasn't. I mean, it was a good run, but man, I tell you what. After lunch, I was like, oh goodness, I need to take a nap. It hit me hard.
No,
Yeah.
when I get horizontal at nighttime, I go out within 2 minutes, and as long as I got up and ran early, I'm a happy person.
That's great.
So, you've run how many states again?
44 states.
44 states. How many states are in the United States?
50.
50.
Yeah. When you do this, do you get time to see the state? I mean, you check it out before you.
It depends on the state. Rhode Island, I got to see a lot of the state.
Beautiful.
It's not a
state.
very big
Texas,
state.
Texas, I saw very little.
yeah, because of the
Percentage wise.
Yeah.
But it depends. Some of my trips have been maybe 5 days, 6 days long. Some of the trips might be 2 days, and it's kind of pitiful what I do it that way. But teachers are, with my time with family and my job, got to get in, get out sometimes pretty fast. Went up to Rhode Island, flew out on a Friday, came back on a Sunday night. Didn't miss any school. That was really nice back last, whenever it was, back a long time ago, October of last year.
Were you anywhere near Newport?
I ran the marathon in Newport.
Is that beautiful or what? Man, beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
It was not only beautiful, but the runners were absolutely super. The communities were super up there. But what I didn't really understand about Rhode Island was driving through the state from Boston, which is where I flew into. It's absolutely beautiful countryside.
Oh yeah, amazing.
I had no idea how beautiful Rhode Island was going to be.
Same here. Yeah, I know you're an art teacher, right?
I am.
Okay. Did you check out the American Illustrated? I can't remember the name of it now. It's the Museum of American Illustrators.
I didn't even know that was there.
Well, I didn't either. Me and my wife went to Boston a couple of years ago, and then we took our sons back. And I was just kind of looking around for things to do, and we found this place. And there's like Maxfield Parrish, Norman Rockwell, Andrew Wyeth. N.C. Wyeth. All this amazing artwork in this building. It's unreal.
You sound like you know your stuff.
I was an art major in school. Yeah.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
I did
We
not
probably
know
got some
that.
things in common. Yeah. But I couldn't believe it. It's an old house, I guess, but it's like a mansion. But they made it into an art museum. And the cool thing about it was, when we left, there was a gentleman and his wife. They were out at the end of the driveway, and me and my son were leaving. And they said, "Oh, how'd y'all like it?" And we just thought they were people who had been there. And we said, "We loved it. It was great." And they said, "Really?" And it turned out they were the owners. So
Wow.
they gave us a tour. They took us out on the grounds and gave us a tour. Just super personable. And then we'll get back to running. I got to tell you this story. They told us this story. They showed us around and was telling us about the museum and everything. And they told us who they were. And I Googled them, and they're actually well-known people. He sits on the board of like the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Well known in architecture and that sort of thing. And she is actually a buyer. She's bought art for George Lucas, Michael Jackson. I was like, holy smokes. And they just like normal folks just talking to us like just anybody else.
Well, since we're talking about art right now, that has been one of the benefits of me traveling to all these states and going to art museums throughout every one of my little adventures. And sometimes I'll go to a little art museum in El Paso, Texas, that will be mostly local artists that no art major will have ever heard
Sure.
of outside of Texas. And I'm telling you, gems.
Oh, yeah.
Gems
Yeah.
everywhere.
Absolutely.
And
You know, when you get to digging, it's like, you know, you go down to like I went to South Carolina several years ago. I was working, and you know, a lot of the museums there are like it's just the waves crashing on the shore. All the paintings are the waves and the shore, and you know, and you see all that. But if you really get to digging, you can find these museums that's got some real art, and nothing against that kind of thing. You know, it's just what everybody does. But if you can really dig, you'll find those museums that's got real art in it. You know what I'm saying?
totally.
Yeah, yeah.
I flew to New Mexico via El Paso, Texas, and made my way up to a 240-mile drive from White Sands Missile Range, where where the marathon was, and literally drove the 240 miles to the Albuquerque Art Museum. I was so disappointed. I drove 60 more miles to the Georgia O'Keeffe Art Museum, where
Wow, that's
where
something to see.
it was completely redeemed, and 300 miles back south to White Sands Missile Range for the marathon, and totally worth it in one day.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
Art makes it worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fun thing to
I
do.
don't know if I could do a marathon with this guy because he would be going the whole time.
I know.
I
yeah.
don't even. Do you even sleep when you leave?
Some of the trips I do not sleep.
See, I couldn't hang either. I mean, I probably couldn't. I love to go to the art museums and all, but you know, the 300 miles back, it's like I don't know.
But I'm not fast. Rob, you guys are probably running way faster than I am. I go and run these marathons. I'm loving the social aspects and meeting other 50-staters, other marathoners that are just maybe first-timers. And I love talking to everybody. And it's just a fantastic time. For me, it's not about speed. It's just about going places, seeing art museums, running another marathon, meeting more people, and sadly, scratch another state off.
What influenced you to run your first marathon?
I ran a half.
You ran a half
That happened
marathon?
to me. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, we ran a half. Me and my wife ran a half, and we said, "Hey, we got to do them full."
On February 2nd, 2000, whatever year that was, 2000, whatever, I ran the Tybee Island half marathon. And man, I was so sore. I'd never experienced soreness like that. And that was February. By middle of the year, I decided to sign up for the Disney Marathon in Orlando. So I did that first marathon. I was going to be one and done. Yep. One and done. And my time was pitiful, and I knew I could do better, so I jumped out there and decided to sign up for a second marathon, which was going to be in San Diego, California. And by the way, I do need to say that the Disney Marathon was so cold, it was frozen over. Water stations were frozen over. So naturally, I'm going to sign up and do a marathon in better conditions than 17 degrees.
I think we ran the half that year because I remember they said it was the coldest on record.
2010.
Yeah, I think that was it. We ran the half, and man, it was just bitter cold.
I think it held on you guys.
Yeah, it did. Sure did.
Because the next day, I remember hearing about that. So naturally, I signed up for another marathon on a trip that I was just happened to be making to California and San Diego. I didn't realize the temperatures there were going to be well into the 80s, and it was brutally, terribly hot. So I went from extremely cold to very hot, and so naturally I had to do a third marathon, and I don't know, I got addicted.
Now you're at 44.
44.
Wow, that does
44. So you started. Your first one was in 2010. 2010. So in 10 years, you've done 44 marathons.
That's pretty impressive.
So that's averaging 4 a year, 4+ a year.
So what's the closest you've done one to another? I mean, what's the
6 days apart.
Holy smokes! So you just have in that area and say, "I'll just cruise over to across the state line and do another one."
Oh, I've never done that. I will literally fly back to Valdosta, go to work, take care of business, and then fly back the next week. I've done that. I think I've done that twice now. One was 6 days apart. One was 7. So that's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
That's actually pretty good, man. I mean, that's great to do a marathon so close.
So
together.
what are the states that you're lacking?
I'm lacking Hawaii, which I've been to Hawaii but didn't run a marathon there. I'm missing Connecticut, Massachusetts, Kentucky is my closest regionally. Who else am I missing?
You've been to Alaska?
I've been to Alaska. I went to Alaska back in 2018 in the summertime and had a great time making sure that I didn't step any of the bear evidence. There was bear scat everywhere throughout maybe miles 3 to maybe mile 20. It was
now that's something that you don't really have to worry about. I mean, we have bears down here.
Never seen one.
running and having to avoid bear scat. Now,
I had one lady run up to me, and she's like, "Hey guys, check this out! Look at my phone!" And it was a picture of a baby bear, and I was like, "Get away from me! Get away! I don't want to."
Yeah.
Well,
You
you
I was waiting
definitely
for
don't wanna
Mama
be
Bear
around
to
that.
come out.
Yeah, that's
you
not
don't
good.
have to be fast. You just have to be faster than the
Faster
you
than
know,
her.
the next person. Yeah. So.
It was a good time.
Okay. So.
What's been your favorite? Which one have you liked the best?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask. Whatever marathon I just completed.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
There's been a lot of great ones. The Baton Memorial Death March was probably the most amazing, most memorable in New Mexico, and everything that it represented for somebody like me. I loved it. I also loved. There was a marathon called the Lost Dutchman, east of Phoenix, Arizona, by maybe 30 miles, and I love the terrain. I love the desert, and love the saguaro cactuses surrounding us, and Lost Dutchman State Park. It was pretty amazing.
No, it sounds like it.
Most disappointing, probably shouldn't say this, but I'd probably have to say something like New York City.
Really?
Yeah, just the time that you have to invest getting to the marathon start, the amount of anticipation I had for it being a great event. Just I was probably let down.
Was that the New York City Marathon?
Yes.
Okay.
So-
How do you get into that?
I got in. Now, my wife signed up for a lottery, got in the first effort. And then I signed up for the lottery 4 years in a row, never got in officially that way. And back then they had a program where if you registered 4 times for the lottery and did not get in, they put you in. So
They don't do that anymore, do
they don't have that program
they?
anymore.
Darn. I'll probably never get in.
But it took me
Just gotta
every
be
effort.
lucky.
Every
Yeah.
effort it took,
So you run through all the boroughs, I guess.
all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, me and my wife have talked about that. That's something we'd like to do, but gosh, I don't know how we're going to get in.
I recommend it, but I was looking forward to it for 4 years, and I mean I celebrated with my wife. My wife had a great experience, but it was not a big desire for her at the time.
Yeah.
She just signed up because I did.
So which race did you do in Illinois?
I did the Chicago Marathon.
And how was that compared to New York City?
I do have to say that I really like the small marathons. After running all these big city marathons, I really realized I like marathons that are maybe 400 people to maybe 3,000 people. And when you start counting the Starbucks, when you realize you've already passed a bunch and you start counting them, and you get to 17 before you're finished on the 26.2 miles, you think, wow, this is really dull. So Chicago had some really great highlights, but ultimately it was just it felt tedious running past the same places.
Mm-hmm. And there's not I mean, once you've seen a big building, I mean, you see, maybe the Sears Tower, and you're like, wow, that's the Sears Tower. And then
Yeah.
50 buildings that look exactly alike. And,
No. I will say Philadelphia has a really cool marathon. 13.1 of it is really cool because you're running throughout all these tall buildings and seeing these big structures, and you come back up for a second. You start over for the second half right in front of the art museum. So Rocky Balboa standing over there cheering you on, the statue, and you take off in another direction, and you basically leave the community, the city, and you go out into a countryside area, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So the second half of the Philadelphia is such a contrast. It made it for a really cool marathon.
which one did you do in Georgia?
I did the Soldier Marathon over in Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of
Yeah,
that.
that
It
one
was
runs down
fabulous.
the Riverwalk, right?
Yeah, that was fabulous. I ran with Sam Louie. I don't know if you knew him.
I know
Yeah,
Sam.
yeah.
Oh,
I remember
we
Sam.
had,
We
we
used to
had a
run with
story
Sam.
about a Sam
Yeah,
Louie.
yeah.
He is a great guy.
Oh, he is.
Love that guy.
He
But
offered me salt tablets one day when I was laid out on Bay Tree, and everybody else was making fun of me.
he's a good guy.
He is a good guy. Yeah, he's crazy. I remember me and Ryan Kelly and a couple other folks were running, and we were just running the 10-mile loop several years ago, and Sam wasn't with us at that. I mean, he ran with us, but we didn't see him that morning. We were running down the road, and we saw this guy way down the road, and we didn't know who it was. We couldn't make it out. This guy was like doing kicks and stuff. Sam's just always doing crazy stuff, and it was him, of course. We get up to him, and he's up there doing kicks and twirls and everything else on the road. I mean, it's just very interesting.
I was walking down the road in San Francisco. No story, no lie here. Walking down the road, and all of a sudden I hear somebody yelling, "Paul Brown!" I turn around, it's Sam Louie in
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Yeah, he is super outgoing. I mean, the guy, he'll know any strangers.
He doesn't miss a thing.
Yeah, yeah. He used to record his runs. Did you know about that? He'd videotape his runs. Now, I didn't see this. Somebody told me this, but he would videotape his runs.
Did he ever have a shirt on ever?
I don't recall that.
Yeah.
Sure don't.
I don't think he has any shirts.
He's an interesting guy, that's for sure. Well, man, it sounds like you've done a lot of stuff. So, what's next? I guess you're gonna pick one of the ones you need. What have you got in mind? What have you queued up?
So back in April, I was supposed to run New Jersey in a little town called Oceanport, and take a bus from Manhattan to the marathon site that morning. Run it. It got postponed in November, and I don't think it's going to happen, but it might. And I'm supposed to do Connecticut and Baltimore.
Yeah.
So, and those three will take place in a 4-week period, which will be the dumbest thing I've done yet.
Have you been to Baltimore?
I have been there, but I have not run a marathon.
I wonder if it goes through the Inner Harbor area, because that's a neat place.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, very very neat area of that town. So.
But I'm counting on it going past Edgar Allan Poe's house.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Rob, we got to get busy, man. I mean,
Nice.
that's some great goals right there. I mean, we got to get some
Well,
inspiration.
we have plans.
Yeah,
which
we got plans.
we're going to add you onto this plan. We were supposed to run the 50th in Kentucky, but that was supposed to be 2022 or
2021, I think.
2021.
Did you say 50?
His 50th.
Yeah.
Oh, 50th. Okay, I thought you said 50 miles.
I was going to tag along for the ride.
Yeah.
Well, I still will whenever it is.
Yeah, if I can get off, y'all count me in. I'd love to go.
After running 7 marathons, I realized what I was doing. Had not repeated a state yet, so I decided, hey, I'll run a marathon in every state. And since Kentucky was the closest to Georgia that I had yet to go to, I thought I'll make it my 50th. So right now, I'm trying to recruit some friends and some people just go up and hang out, run that 50th with me.
Kentucky. I used to work in Kentucky. It's a great, beautiful state. I mean, Keeneland, a lot of horse tracks out there. And I don't know if you've ever been to the horse races, but man, that is a lot of fun. I didn't bet or anything. I just went there to watch, and I was blown away.
Well, it's actually the Kentucky Derby Marathon that I'm trying to do.
Oh, wow, that'd be
So-
great. We need to run it.
You
Yeah,
run
I'm
on the horse
down.
track.
You
Just-
run on a horse track?
You run on the horse track right before the week of the big Kentucky Derby.
I wonder if we're going to have to run through Horse Scat.
Oh, this is the week. This is the week before the race.
Man, this thing is pristine. These tracks are pristine, man. I'm telling you, it's
You
unbelievable.
eat off the dirt.
Yeah. It's just so. I mean, how many times around is a marathon?
Oh, it goes all over.
Oh, so
I
it's
think
not
it's
on
just-
the track.
I think it's just
yeah.
one time around the track.
Well, gotcha. Okay, so it's just kind of you do the track and just say
So
I was here, and then you move on.
Had you visited like a lot of these states before you because
No.
you obviously liked to travel before you started running, and
I-
then you were like, I'm going to travel and run.
Well, I used to have this goal of photographing every state house in our country. So I got up to maybe 25, 27 on that, and then kind of started over because of the marathons. But I'd already been visiting a lot of states and having fun with that. But the marathons have really just added to the fun, to the silliness, really. It's something that is kind of, you get obsessed with.
Yeah, I can see how.
So after you've completed all 50 states, have you even thought about that?
My Delta airline friend, she's wanting me to do all 7 continents. And honestly, I have said this, I'm completely done after 50 states plus DC. But I would be willing to go to Reykjavik and maybe even London. But that's it.
What about Puerto Rico? You going to leave Puerto Rico out?
If California divides into 3, I'll stop my plan, my goal. I'm really going to try to aim for 50 and done.
So you don't. How about the territories? U.S. territories? Are you
No, I'm
nothing?
good.
Yeah.
I dread the heat in Hawaii.
Continental. It's got to be continental.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
I dread the heat in Hawaii. I loved it in Arizona and New Mexico, but just add the humidity of Hawaii or even South Georgia, I think it'd be a little tough.
Yeah.
I mean, different tough.
So what is the smallest number-wise runners that you've run?
Oh, I ran in Washington. My wife and I had a trip planned out west, and I found this great marathon in Seattle. And when I told my wife about it, she didn't have the enthusiasm I did. And something happened, and our vacation plans changed times, and we couldn't do that marathon. But then I found another marathon, and it was called the Port Angela. No, it was called the. Let me look it up here. It's called the North Olympic Discovery Marathon, and I think there were about 350 marathoners. The marathon was northwest of Seattle by maybe 100 miles, and it turned out to be the best part of the trip, going to towns like Sequim, Port Angeles, Port Townsend, and just seeing the Olympic National Park as the background for the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, pretty flat marathon, but gorgeous.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
So, what's the hottest marathon that you've been to? Like
It's going to have to definitely be New Mexico.
New Mexico?
Different kind of heat, though, right? I mean, more of
Yeah,
a dry type heat.
Very dry, but it was amazing. That was the Bataan Memorial Death March. I was running behind American soldiers wearing complete fatigues. I was running with soldiers that were missing limbs. I was running with, at one point, I ran past a soldier that had lost both legs and one arm. And he
Wow.
was out there somehow doing it.
That's inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Hey, you told us which one was disappointing, but have you had one that you've actually suffered or struggled with? You know, you didn't think you were going to make it.
Yeah, two marathons in a row. Lincoln, Nebraska. I can't remember if that was the one where I was feverish and sick with a stomach bug, but that one I literally thought at the halfway point I could have easily jumped out, and I had some encouragement from two people that I had met, and that were like, "Come on, Paul, you could just go a little bit further." And then at the very end, I probably 2 miles out, I almost quit, and then one of those people were still with me, and they talked me through it. And then Newport, Rhode Island I was sick also, and that was all in like a 3-week period. It was brutal to get through those two.
Gosh, I can imagine. That's every runner's nightmare, you train and you train and you train, and finally when that window opens up and you don't feel good, or something's going wrong, you twist your ankle or something,
Well, I've seen this guy because every morning during school, he is the person that the kids first see at school. He's going up and down, opening every single car door just about, letting the kids out, telling them have a good day at school, and and like this was I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, but he's like limping, like opening doors. He's limping, and he's like, I don't have time to be hurt. I got a marathon. And I'm like, I don't think he's going to make this one. But then, he shows up, and he's like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, Marine Corps Marathon, that was probably the most challenging now that I think about it. I injured my back right before the race.
I know that stuff, yeah.
I fell over a curb on the way to the marathon start, and literally was twisted. My Delta friend, she actually came to see the marathon. She happened to be there and came to see the marathon, and she was bringing me ibuprofen and aspirin and trying to talk me through it. And I'll tell you, I walked with extreme pain, ran with extreme pain, but I had run for an organization called Homes for Our Troops, and raised money for that group. And I felt really, really inspired to get that done. I actually had a woman run up to me at the very beginning of the race, first mile. And she said, "Y'all built my son a house." And I'm like, "What?" And she said, "You built my son a house." She goes, Homes for Our Troops. And I looked down at my shirt that I had been given for the organization. I'm like, "Oh, wow, cool. I'm glad you told me that." So I carried that with me for another 25
great.
miles.
That's great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, that's awesome. So what keeps you going? I mean, you're high energy, you're full of energy. You can run these marathons and go to school. Obsession. I mean, no diet, no special diet, no 8 hours of sleep. Attribute to anything.
No.
In particular.
I like to get my rest.
Have you always been this way from
Yeah.
a kid on? You've been
High
wound
energy.
uptight. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I need that energy sometimes, but
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
I see him there, like I said, early in the morning. He's still going. And then
Yeah.
you see him out at night at like 9 o'clock at night running down the road. And I'm like, gee whiz, he's been going all day.
Now, Paul, do you lift weights or anything, or you do anything else?
Sadly, no.
No. Okay.
I'm so obsessed with running,
Yeah.
and I think I told Rob this earlier, several months ago. Before the summer and the coronavirus season, I really thought I loved running, but I've been second guessing that, because now I have running without a medal in my future, running without another marathon that I'm sure I'm going to be able to run. I have really, really latched on to the running and really have loved just running for the sake of running.
Right.
And I broke my watch. Well, my watch died in the swimming pool about 3 weeks ago, and even running without a watch, just having fun with it.
Yeah.
I wish I could run without a watch.
I kind of did the same thing when I came back. I had a little layoff, but when I came back, I kind of told myself I'm going to enjoy running, instead of pushing myself all the time, and it's really worked well for me. I guess I'm not super fast either, but just get out there and just enjoy running, not holding yourself to some super high standard.
I would like to be faster, but I don't
Yeah.
want to do that work. I just want to run.
Well, I got to ask you. You say you're not fast, so what have you ran? What's your best marathon time?
My best marathon time, I would be embarrassed to record it. It's like four. I think I ran 4:28 3 times. No,
I wouldn't
4:29.
say that was bad.
Yeah,
Four-
that's not bad.
4:29, I think it was, and I run it 3 times.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty good, Paul.
but, I mean, but
By most
Rob-
people's standards.
Rob will tell you, I run and talk almost the whole time.
Well, I'm a
it's-
talker too. I love to get on the road and just chat because it makes time go by. The miles go by a lot quicker.
Yeah,
Easier.
and you meet some amazing people on
Oh,
the
yeah,
road.
Yeah.
Just-
Some people don't want to talk. Unfortunately, I get out with some groups of people that they do not want to talk. I was running with a group at Space Coast one year, and we were all suffering. I mean, you could just tell the whole group was suffering, and we were running along. And so I had this great idea. I'm gonna tell everybody a joke. Get everybody laughing. Boy, it went over like a lead balloon, man. I mean, nobody laughed. They didn't even cracked a smile. So I said, just drop back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We were just so tired, and people
Sam Louie has it down perfect.
Yeah.
He'll be running along. I've run 2 marathons with him, and in the middle of the marathon, he'll be like, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" And everybody that's running with him has to answer, or name your top 3 favorite songs. And
That kind of sounds like us,
Yeah.
we can-
running with him really makes the
Yeah.
time go by. I wish he was still here.
Yeah, yeah. I hadn't seen him in a long time.
Where is he at?
He was in California last I noted, but I haven't seen him or contacted him since.
Hmm.
Now, you're kind of known for sleeping in your car if necessary, right? You go, and if I have to crash in my car, I just do it.
I've done it.
Yeah. So what's that like the next morning? You get up and, man, I slept in my car last night. Ugh.
You would think with somebody with back issues would probably have a hard time, but I think the support of some of those rental cars have really helped. Those are some really firm seats sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I'll crash in a car in a heartbeat. No issues with that.
That's pretty neat.
But there's nothing like running a marathon. I ran a marathon in Missoula, Montana, and literally had to fly from Missoula to Salt Lake City to Atlanta back to Valdosta, and just I knew what I needed to do. I got done with the marathon, went and jumped in a river. Literally, there were about 15 of us. It was the most frigid water I've ever gotten my body into, and I think doing that kind of thing really helps. Like after the Newport Marathon, jumping in the ocean, you do those things to help. So.
So we know you're a marathoner. Do you run other distances? You run 5Ks and 10Ks and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I actually love half marathons the most, but I'm not going to fly somewhere to do a half marathon.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't think I will. And love the Gate River Run, 15K, and just 5Ks are just fun to meet up with people locally.
Have you ran the Peachtree Run?
I have once.
Yeah, that's a great race.
No, I'm sorry. I've done it twice. I did it once with my wife back a long time ago. And I did it with a Delta airline friend of mine a couple of years ago. She was wanting to do something in her 60s, so I told her I'll help you along here, and I just stuck with her just to help her along.
That's a great event, yeah, because
I've
that's
never
fun.
run the Peachtree.
Rob, you got to do it, man. You got to come.
You got to do it, but not this year.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely not this year.
Can you do it? Can you sign up for the one that they're having in Thanksgiving?
Well, I think I'm going to open.
They're not gonna have
I thought they were going to open registration. I'm with you. I'm
They
probably not
might-
gonna
they
have
might-
it,
they might.
But I think they might open registration again because they only got like 40,000 people signed up. When they opened initially because of the COVID
40's
thing.
not enough.
No, definitely not. So they opened registration, and I think I'm with you. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, they would probably open registration again and give you an opportunity to get in. So I would recommend it.
But you really want the hotel right there at the race start.
Yes.
And I
yeah.
can't remember the name of it, but there's a
Yeah,
there's
we
several.
Stay, I can't remember where we stay, but there's one we stay pretty much every year, and we're right there. I mean, we have to walk a little bit, but not far.
Yeah, my daughter could watch me down below.
Yeah.
Right there, and
It's not like 70 stories, is it? Right?
No. It's like
No, well, you'd be
15.
on the 70th story. Yeah.
We have a strict 6th floor limit. I
Right.
don't stay anything above the 6th floor,
Right. And Rob don't fly, so
and I don't fly.
and you don't get on boats either, do you? You don't in the middle of the ocean, right? You don't do
No,
cruises.
I
and
don't
such.
do that either.
Yeah.
I'm weird.
That might thwart the plans a little bit.
Now,
How are we
I'll
friends?
take a bus or a train wherever y'all want to go. I'll get on a bus or a train, but I do not like to have my feet lifted off the ground.
Yeah.
Hey,
I had
call
no
me
idea.
crazy.
Hey, you remember the A team? Remember Mr. T?
Uh-huh.
BA.
BA? They would always knock him out.
BA
You know, before
Baracus.
they
Yeah,
flew.
that's
And he wake up, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
You know,
here?"
we were supposed to go on a trip. Well, I ended up taking a bus out to Texas for the national championship for BSU, but I was thinking about going on a plane. That's the one. I mean, I was pretty close to going on a plane, but and then I have friends. Oh, we'll give you drugs, you know, not legal
Yeah.
drugs. Because I have I have a pharmacist friend. She's like, I'll prescribe you something for the flight. I said, you don't understand. The flight is not the problem. Once I buy the tickets, that's when the anxiety will set in, and I'll be nervous until. And then I started thinking, because I was taking Carter with me, I'm like, what if I take whatever it is she's going to prescribe? I don't know what the drugs are, but and then I like have some reaction to it, or I really start acting like really loopy or like
Let's just call him
drugged
Rain
up.
Man.
Yeah.
And then and then you know I get off and I lose Carter, and then I'm like, where am I be at? So I
Yeah.
decided against it, and we just took the bus.
You know,
it was
flown-
16 hours there, 16 hours back.
You could have done it like 4 hours on a plane, probably.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah.
what? We had fun.
I've flown multiple times, and I've never had any issues. I've had one or two kind of semi-rough landings, and then you know I've had the air pockets you hit. You know, you're flying along, you hit those air pockets, and the plane will drop a little bit. That's a little. The first time that happened to me, I was going to Virginia or somewhere, and I was looking around like, does it not anybody else not realize what's going on here? Because this, you know, that's the first time I'd ever done that. But you'll hit those air pockets in the plane, it feels like it drops like 10 feet. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, and it kind of shook me up a little bit. I mean, I didn't get crazy or anything, but it's just like, what's going on here? But other than that, I've never had any issues with it. I mean,
I don't like flying, but I've gotten used to it.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm not crazy about flying, but I can get on and I don't think much about it. I just, you know, try to relax and just get there.
Yeah.
But it sure does get you there in a hurry.
If you make it there in one piece.
And it
Yeah.
gets you back home so you can go to work
Exactly.
the very
That's
next
right, yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to have to overcome that fear one day.
Yeah.
You
Well,
will
hey,
you will for Kentucky because I'll probably fly there at this point.
Yeah. Because it's like 11 or 10 or 11 hour drive.
It's a 10-hour drive to Louisville.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nothing.
Nothing to it, right?
Anything under
Hip,
17
skip, and
hours
hip
is
skipping
boom.
and whatever. Hop, skip, and jump. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'll meet you there.
Oh, and then you got to go to the Driver Museum. The Driver Museum is an art museum that actually I was going to go to do the Louisville Marathon, the Kentucky Derby Marathon. Found out that their Driver Art Museum was closed
Oh man.
for renovations.
I haven't been there. That's something I
So,
have to do.
so I
yeah.
decided not to do that marathon. That's when it became my 50th state. But the Driver Museum was named after somebody whose last name was Driver. It sounds like an auto
What do they have
museum. A little bit of everything. European, American,
Wow.
antiquities.
That'd be great. I've never been. I've
Looking
never heard of it. I'll have to check
Looking
it out.
forward to it.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
And
great.
so-
to see.
Also, which we can bring up, you also put on a race every year,
Yes.
which unfortunately got canceled this year.
it got postponed.
Postponed. Postponed.
and now it's canceled.
Well, it'll still be until next year.
Yes.
Hopefully, we can revisit that in March. It's usually
third Saturday in March.
usually the third Saturday in March, which everybody who was signed up
Is still signed up.
is still signed up. We just had it's a 1 year postpone. I postpone things for longer
Time
than
to
that.
train. You get more time to train, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We need to start. We need to look into that. You know, you've already paid from last year and send out letters to people who've paid. Said it's time to start training for this year's race. If we think about it,
I'll post it on the Facebook page.
but that race has been going on for
11 years.
11 years, and all the proceeds go to South Mahone Visual Arts.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
And
You,
so-
you solely put it on yourself?
Yeah. Yep.
How many participants do you have there?
A bunch.
Oh, it's a big race.
He's never happy with the numbers, but it's the biggest race in Valdosta.
Around 400 to 450 people.
Holy smokes, that is a big race. Yeah.
But every year I try to get it to 500, and I might fall short.
Yeah.
Every year.
I'd say it's pretty successful.
He's like, we only have a couple hundred people signed up.
Yeah, I put on some 5Ks. We had like 30 folks there.
That's
Count
always,
me.
that's always my fear every year.
Yeah, but we always they always show up. So
Yeah, it must be a
Yeah.
great race.
Good times.
it is
Yep.
it's a
support.
very good race, and he puts it on. You know, pretty much by himself. He's a one man show.
Now, Paul, do you keep up with your mileage? You log it? Or, do you know
I
how
do.
many miles you've ran? Any
I do.
idea? I mean,
I do.
so you go look it up and say, I've ran X amount of miles in my lifetime, or
Yeah. Well,
since I've got serious about the marathons.
there are times when I don't keep up with it and I forget to log it, but for the most part, I do.
You know what I find with that on the logging everything and journaling everything is that it's great satisfaction. You know, when you get to say, okay, 6 today. You know, back when we used to do all the tens, and you know, I look back on that. You know, say, wow, we had a 10-mile day that morning, or you know, sometimes a 20-mile day. You know, so it's very satisfying to me to be able to log that.
Totally.
Yeah,
And it's important when you're trying to make sure that you're, maybe increasing your distance by only 10%. So
Yeah.
that's important.
I tell you, you know, I told you I kind of had a little lag in my running there, which Rob knows about. But last year I ran like 279 miles last year. That was it. All year long I ran 200. I barely ran, and I've blown that away this year. So that's a great feeling. Though I've kind of bounced back because I used to run. You know, I'd run around 1,200 miles a year, but I fell off big time last year. I'm back.
What's the difference?
But between last year, I was recovering from something, but really the recovery part was over. I was recovered, but I had kind of gotten away from running during the recovery, and I just could not get back. I don't know what it was. I had about a 2-year stint there where I could just not get my mind on. I didn't like running anymore. That's what it boiled down to. I just didn't like running. I mean, I would go out and do it, and we've got a group there in Tifton, and every Wednesday we meet and do 6 miles. I would go out to do that. I mean, there was days or Wednesdays I was only running maybe 3 or 4 miles. I would just quit. And I just lost my desire to run. And I told Shane I'm not a runner anymore. I just don't do it. But, you know, I don't know what happened. I guess it was around November of last year, something clicked. And I just kind of got back into it. And that's when I told myself, I said, look, no outlandish, crazy stuff. No high standards. Just enjoy running, And I think that's kind of helped me get back into it. Because now I feel like I'm back, Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I worry that a lot of people might have cut back this year just due to lack of local events to train for and get ready for, but hopefully not.
Some
Yeah,
people need the events. I
Yeah,
used to be
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. The only reason I run was for events.
Sure, I got some friends. I mean, they are dying to do races, which that's great. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing something myself, but I like the training aspect of it. I just like the running. I just like to go out and run.
I'm right there with you now.
Yeah,
I like to
yeah.
train, but I also like
you
to
got to have an end result. Yeah,
compete.
yeah. You want to lay it on the line at some point in time and see what you.
I like the T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably got a T-shirt or two, I guess.
I've got 4 or 5.
Yeah, wow, man. That's something. You start making blankets out of those things at some point in time. That's what everybody's doing. Sandy, you know Sandy.
I do.
She's ran a lot of half marathons. I mean, probably ran 30 or 40. I mean, she's much more of a racer, events kind of person than I am. And her medal rack is just like about to break off the wall. She has so many medals from all these half marathons and all. And I've got some races I've done, but I don't know where my medals are.
All of my medals are in in 2 shoe
Yeah,
boxes.
mine's stuffed away somewhere, so I don't know.
What's your favorite T-shirt that you've gotten, or the most unique thing that's ever you've been awarded or given at a race?
Man, that's a tough one.
Because some of these races, they give out a lot of different swag. I tell you, my favorite thing to get every year, or when I do it, is the Gate River beer glasses that
Yeah.
are etched with the Gate River. I love those things. I have a set, and I have children, so 2 of them broken.
You've got a couple of
but-
caps from there too. haven't
Yeah,
you?
I got a
10%.
couple caps there
Yeah, that's
too,
pretty good.
10%.
I've never gotten a 10% hat.
Yeah.
But, and I just like the little things that are different when you go to a race and they give you something a little bit different, not just your average little.
Remember the little skillets that that race gives out? What
yeah.
is that? It's like a local race. I mean,
The Skillet 5K in
Yeah.
Quitman.
Yes.
yeah,
I got several of those.
yeah. They got a
I've
good thing
always
going over
I've
there.
always wanted to cook an egg in one, but I've never done it.
Yeah, I think it's a real large
Tonight,
pan,
there's your goal.
Yeah.
Cook an egg.
When the time I went, I've only been one time, but they had people out there with frying pans, beating on the pans. I said, man, if I can get everybody out doing this would be a really neat race.
Yeah. I
They got a real gimmick here.
remember that. I think it used to be a lot bigger, and there were because you come up through one of the neighborhoods in Quitman, which Quitman has some awesome old houses. That road right there, I mean, beautiful early 1900s probably houses.
Well taken care of.
And a lot of them have been redone, and a lot of them are just really nice. And you run down that, and there used to be pots and pans coming up that street. That's when you know you're almost
I
home.
remember that.
We're almost home. But
Any races that outside of the marathon that you just, man, I just want to do that. It's on the bucket list.
Not that I could think of right off. There is a race in Maine, and I think it's like Joan Bonoe Samuelson started the race years ago, and I think it's something to do with like beach to breakers.
I know which one you're talking about.
It's on July 4th. I would love to go up and do her race one day.
Yeah.
And she always does the national marathon to finish breast cancer over in Jacksonville. Or she doesn't do it, but she's been a part of that for years. I always like doing that. But, I wouldn't mind repeating that one.
Mm-hmm.
But anything to do with Joan Bonoe Samuelson, she's amazing.
Well, Rob, we've done Georgia and Florida, right? We got to branch out, man.
Maybe I'll swing by Alabama one day.
Yeah. It's not that far.
Go to Birmingham.
Kentucky. We got to do Kentucky.
Actually, there's a race that I want to do because they say it's super flat, and I think it's called the Emerald Isles Marathon. It's on the Outer Banks, and it just looks like really flat, and they say it's a really great course.
That's
Super flat is overrated.
Not to me. I mean,
Jacksonville Banks are flat.
I haven't found one that's like super downhill. That's within,
Yeah.
I know there's one out in I think Washington that's downhill, like down a mountain.
There's one in Colorado I did, and they bus you up to like 12,000 feet above sea level, and you start running back down, and you finish at like 8. It's brutal.
Really,
I didn't like it.
It would probably wear on your legs after a while, even if it was just a steady downhill.
Some people don't like downhill. Some people would rather run up the hill than downhill because it's tough on their joints.
Well, if you've trained in Valdosta, you hadn't trained all those downhill muscles.
Yeah.
And so you're probably just
You remember Terry Adams, right? Terry used to hate the downhill, remember? I don't know what he done to himself. When we were doing that at Spartan, he couldn't hardly go downhill. Remember, he was backing down the hills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was very unusual, but he could go up the hills, no issues. Down the hills, he really had to struggle.
Which I have friends who like to go uphill. I mean, I guess it just works different muscles that they have.
I'm not crazy about it, but I notice I speed up on going up because I want to get up. I'm ready to be done with it. I'm trying to get up the hill and be done. So I always generally speed up on the hill. But
and people are going like, y'all are from Valdosta,
I've been told
Georgia.
Don't waste a hill. Run up the hill and run down the hill even faster. I'll run up a hill, but I will walk down.
Yeah, you just coast down the hill. You just let the hill do the work for you.
Yeah. You always, you go through the run the Gate River Run, and then you run up the Hart Bridge, and I'm always thinking, I'm gonna run this Hart Bridge. I'm gonna run up as fast as I can, and then when I get to downhill, I'll just be smoking it.
Yeah, man, you can see the finish line.
But I always get to the top, and the lactic acid is already built up in my legs, and I cannot run any faster going down the hill than I did going up the hill.
Well, man, there's people laying beside the road, moaning and groaning and dying. It's such a tough race. But it's funny because you see so many people sitting out, because getting them hills is tough.
But I'm always like, I'm gonna murder this hill, going up the hill, and when I start running downhill, it'll be so easy. But by then your legs are spent and you're just trying to survive.
And the insult to injury is Ron Kelly just ran past you going the other way after he's been finished for 25 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't even. Ryan is so fast. There's nothing you can do about him. He's quick.
You just wave to him.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because when I got kind of started seriously running years ago, I was running in Tifton and I had no designs on running a marathon at all. And then Sandy had just completed a Couch to 5K. I just kind of got back into running, and I was running in Tifton, and Frank Ryan, Frank, he invited me to run in Valdosta with the guys, and that's the first time I ever met Ryan or Tom Phillips or any of those guys. They were running. It was Todd. At his old store. We started there. It's Todd and Mark Steele, Tom Phillips, and Ryan, and then Frank Ryan. And I ran with them, and of course we would break off in little groups because we couldn't hang with Todd and them. But it was fun. But those guys were just super duper fast.
Yeah,
we were kind of on the tail end of that. But it's nice to get pushed sometimes. But I finally said, hey, I can't run a PR every time I come out here. I'm dying here.
I met a guy one time at a party. He was a paratrooper at Moody Air Force Base, and I'll tell you, I made the mistake of running with him once. And I'll tell you, I didn't run for 2 weeks after because of some kind of running injury I sustained with this guy. Yeah. But he was a beast.
Oh man, you run with these people sometimes, and you feel your soul being sucked out of your body, because you're pushing it way too hard, And I've made the mistake of doing that a few times, and there's a guy in Tiffin, he's a young kid, he's a good runner, and I ran a streak, a 31-day streak, and my last day, 31 days, is I'm going to take it super easy. I'm just going to go out there and just really go easy because I was hurting already. And I just wanted to finish the streak. Well, I get a call from this kid, and he said, hey, and I hadn't heard from him in weeks. And he's great. He says, hey, man, let's run today. I said, okay, sure, we'll run together. man, he wore me out. I mean, I stayed with him, but God, night he killed me. I got down and said, "That's it, end of the streak."
So, have you ever done any of those running streaks where you run?
I've never done a running streak at all.
I've done some one-day ones. No,
I've gotten up to 100, and I think I ended up at like 112.
man, that's pretty amazing. You know, I mean, I didn't know that you went that far.
But by the time I was like, then you get to like 90 days, 100 days, and then
Yeah.
I started looking up running streaks, and there's like a website with people who've run like 7 or 8 years in a row, and to even get like to your streak to be acknowledged, you have to run a year. It's 365 days. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got 265 more days to go. I was like, no,
There are people with running
But-
streaks that are
but-
like they started when they were 18 years old.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
crazy.
it came down to it where it was just running. I mean, it was raining. It was running. It was raining like the whole day, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go out. I'll run in the rain if it's like light mist, and then if it rains harder. I mean, I've been caught in some storms. I'll tell you about the time I was caught in a tornado one day when we had more time, but. I'll run out in the rain if it's drizzling, whatever. If it starts downpouring, that's fine. But if it's downpouring, I'm not going to go out and start a run. You know what I mean? It's just not there for me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not,
I love
it's
to see
like,
the rain.
I'll do it tomorrow. But it was raining the whole day, and then I was like, do I want to go out and run a mile just to say I got the streak or kept the streak alive? And I'm like, I don't think so.
I don't run in the rain on purpose, but there was a streak of maybe 4 marathons where it rained every marathon, 4 marathons in a row. And, believe it or not, it's tolerable. And I'll do it if I have to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, there's
Yeah, I
been
love it
plenty
when
of
it rains,
times
yeah.
where it's like it's misty rain out there. I'm here already. I show up at the Y when we used to run every day from the YMCA. That's fine. I don't mind running in the rain, but if it's torrential downpour, I'm not gonna be like, okay, let's go. I'll be like, let's wait.
yeah.
We'll do it tomorrow. It's not that important to me. Because
Tomorrow's
I'm not
another day, right?
gonna run on treadmill. I've never run on treadmill in my
Yeah,
life.
I'm not big on that
I've
either.
done it before. I'm not gonna say that I won't do it again, but
It's not even the same experience.
I
don't-
tried.
That's not why I do
Yeah.
running. I don't. If I was just running to stay in shape or anything like that, I would run on a treadmill. But
I
that's
tried
not me.
briefly, and I've had probably 5 treadmills offered to me over the last 10 or so years, and I always say no thanks. I don't need anything to hold my clothes up. Got a
Yeah.
closet for that.
Yeah.
I've had several treadmills over my lifetime.
Yeah, I don't ever need one.
Yeah, you don't. I don't. I mean, it's not for me. And I mean, I have friends who live by treadmills. That's what they do. They put on, their Netflix or whatever, and then they can
Yeah.
enjoy their shows, and it works for them. It just doesn't work for me. All I can think about is getting off the treadmill. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah, I can understand.
think about.
I don't want to watch TV when I'm running. I mean, I'm just not really into that anyway. So I just like to be out there and talking to my friends and doing that kind of thing. Paul, I want to make sure I understand this. You said that, like, how many miles are you running now? I mean, what are you running a week?
Up to maybe 3 weeks ago, I was hitting like 41 to 47 miles a week.
So you're running a lot.
Which
Yeah.
is not a lot, but it's a lot for me. But
It's a lot for
That's
me
a
too.
lot for me. Yeah.
I had a little bit of an injury. I had a friend call me up at wanted to run with me that particular morning. Ran with him. That brought me up to like 45 miles. No, 43 miles, I think. So then another friend of mine called me up and was like, "Hey, let's go run tonight." I'm like, "Okay." So I ran 5 miles with him that night, which brought me up to 47, and I couldn't even walk the next day. It's just I think I just met my
Yeah.
limit, and so I've dropped back down to maybe 15 to 20 a week right now. Going to
Right.
build back up.
So when you get ready to run a marathon, you say, I'm going to go do Kentucky. I mean, how many miles will you do a week? Will anything change? Will you do more miles a week or
Well, it's
have a long run?
It's embarrassing, but I have literally run marathons with maybe 8-10 miles.
Yeah, me too,
In a
unfortunately.
in a 30-day period before the marathon.
Yeah.
It just I will just go out and do it, just pure desire.
Yeah. But you never say, hey, have you ever had one you said, I'm going to go out and I'm going to blaze this thing. I'm going to go out and I'm just going to kill this marathon.
Totally.
Yeah. So you say, I'm going to get ready for this one.
And you always have a friend that makes you think you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at mile 13, you're hitting an hour and 50 minutes, and you're like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to mile 16, it's like, dude, I just need to sit down.
Yeah, yeah. But if someone was to call you, somebody called you tonight and said, "Hey, let's this weekend, let's go so and so and run a marathon." You do it.
Oh, I'd be ready.
Yeah,
If there was a marathon open in a state I haven't run yet, sure.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think I've ran 2 marathons untrained. I mean, completely just. I mean, I'd had like you say, 10, 12 miles under my belt, and then you go running. I always like, I'm just going to do it slow. But it doesn't matter how slow you do a marathon. 26 miles is a long haul. I mean, it works on you after a period of time. But I mean, it's pretty impressive that you can just pick up and go when you choose to, because it's interesting to me to say, hey, I can just go out and do it. But in fact, what I'm thinking about now is I've got a friend, Mike Beeman. He was on the show. He's in Tiffin. He's a guru of running, and he's doing like a Boston Marathon type thing where he's going to run it with a lady that's there in Tiffin, a fellow runner. And he's inviting people to come out and run legs of it with him. And I know some people are talking about doing the whole thing, and it'd be interesting. It'd be great for me to say, hey, I think I'm just going to go run it with him. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can run 26.2 miles.
I think we can do it.
You think so?
I think the first 18 are pretty easy.
Yeah.
Now,
then-
if you ran a virtual Boston Marathon, would that count as Boston?
For me, it wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I
But-
think you
but-
kind of got to do it.
But I mean, based on comments on Facebook, some people are going to do it, some people are not.
So you've seen this?
And I have, and,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those that would not. I thought about trying to get signed up for that and going to Boston, running the marathon literally, but I decided against it. Without running with a bunch of people, the camaraderie being missing, it just wouldn't be real
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. I would love to qualify for that. I mean, I think that's everybody's dream, but I just don't know.
Not
I mean,
me. I don't have that dream anymore.
Yeah, I think
I know I'm slow.
I think I've gotten too old to get there. I don't know.
I'd have to be like 115 to qualify for Boston.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I'm a long way off, and I don't know. I just I'm not running enough right now, but who knows?
Yeah.
See, Rod
Well-
don't say anything. He's still holding out. He's harboring that desire. That.
He's young.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Well, I've done some silly things in my life, but I've never run a marathon
untrained.
not completely untrained. I've been undertrained because I'm always undertrained and overconfident, as our
Yeah,
slogan
as our slogan,
is.
yeah.
I thought your slogan was for me, actually. Pretty vain, right?
We
But-
extend it to a lot of folks.
Yeah, well, most of the people that I hang with. But, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I would want to do it.
Well, I ran a race as a
I-
bandit. I ran with.
Is that
with-
the hot dog race? where
That's
I
the
get-
hot dog race. Brian Kelly has a very funny story because I was delirious when I finished. I was completely delirious. So when we go back we were staying with some friends of ours. When we went back, I just went to bed. I was just done, and everybody else was in the living room having a good time. I was in the bed, and I called Ryan. I don't even remember doing it, but I called Ryan and was just talking to him. Ryan said, "You were out of your head, man." So he calls my wife, says, "You need to go check on him. He's not good." And I was just talking craziness. I don't know. I was completely delirious because I'd only ran, like I say, maybe 12 miles one time prior to going and doing that. Then I went. I mean, I ran like a 4
Have
and
you
a half.
ever banded at a race?
No. Oh, yeah. I made it a local 5K, and I felt so horrible afterwards.
It happens.
Yeah. No, I didn't feel bad about that one. What I did feel bad about was when I finished. Before I went through the finish line, because this was a pretty major race, I pulled over. I wasn't going to go through the finish line. They said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm a bandit." And they said, "Come on through." I said, "I'm a bandit." I said, "Come on through." So I finished. I crossed across, and they gave me a towel. They gave me a medal. I said, "I don't even have a number." And they said, "Just take it. You ran it right." I said, "Okay." So I knew, man. I said, I felt terrible, and I was like, and then they said, "How'd you get a medal?" And my wife was like,
And
"How'd
his
you get a
name
medal?"
is Rick Register, and
yeah.
he can be reached
Yeah.
at.
No.
They forced it on me.
This race that I banded at, it was started at the American Legion on William Street, and I was about a tenth of a mile away from the race start. Met up with my friend who was running the race, pushed my daughter in the race, and about a tenth of the mile before the finish, I cut out. I was so embarrassed that I was even doing it. So ashamed of myself.
I felt the same way, yeah. But I mean,
Hey,
I was glad to do it.
At least you didn't take a medal and a towel.
I know, man. Gosh, I got them out. They forced it.
Who would do that?
Yeah, I know, really. It's a low down guy.
Well, all right, we've reached an hour.
Wow, that goes by fast.
Another hour in the books. We need to have you back on. We're going to get you back on closer to Don't Run with Scissors. Hopefully, we can run it this year. We're hoping for some 5Ks in the near future. There are some. I was listening to Todd Smoot. He was on the radio today, and there are some coming up. I think there's one in September.
There's a few things going on. Yeah, I don't remember the dates, but
And then I saw somebody, I think your wife had liked it, and that's probably why I saw it on Facebook. There's a Ragnar trail race down in Florida that's December 3rd and 4th. It looks fun. That's all I'm saying. It's a
something to think about.
Ragnar Trail. You know, it's one of these, you know, you get a group of people and they run for, you know, you like run like 10, 12 mile repeats. It looks fun. I've never done one before, but it would be interesting. If
Yeah,
somebody wants
real
me on their
interesting.
team, I'll, you know,
I've got to extend my long run right now. I mean,
yeah.
we're
But
not even doing
December is like
yeah, you're right.
4 months away. Four and a half months away.
It's
or
true to
whatever it
ourselves.
is.
Let's just go try it. You know, who knows?
you know
Who cares
what?
whether we're ready or not? Let's just go do it.
I would be interested because it's a trail
Okay,
run.
yeah,
It's
we'll look
night
into it.
run. It's night. It's at night. So you go and you start camping, and they have a tent city, and you run.
A trail run at night. What could go wrong?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
once you step in the bear scat,
yeah, or a hole.
yeah. It's in Florida, so you know you probably have to worry about snakes and alligators more than you have
They
to
have
worry
bears
about.
there.
They do have black bears
Yeah.
and
Well, I can get us some teammates probably.
and you know
I got some friends who are
jaguars.
biting at the bit in a run.
Which
right
type of bear is best?
Punch it.
No bear.
Is it? Are you supposed to lay down and play dead, or are you supposed to pop it in the nose?
Lay
if-
down.
Okay.
If you come across a cub, though, try to lead it back to its mom. Okay.
I thought you were just supposed to go into your goose sack and give them some.
Yeah, some snacks. Yeah.
And then they'll just leave you alone, right?
God, I hate to even think about that, man. What a nightmare.
All right, friends. Well,
Paul, we enjoyed
we've
it.
come to
Thank
the
you.
end.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Paul Brown. If you send your kids to Sal's Mahone, he will be your art teacher, as he has for the past how many years?
22.
22 years. And he does great at that. And he puts on his race for all your children. So in March, I will be calling you up to talk about that race. But like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, streaming live every Monday. I got to post some of the episodes on iTunes. I've gotten a little slack on that.
Did we ever get Jerry's on
Jerry's is on YouTube.
Okay, good.
Everything's on YouTube. We pre-recorded that one, so I forgot to post it. But all the other episodes live on YouTube every Monday. You can watch it on the big screen.
Great. I'm working with my buddy Scott Knowles, so hopefully he can come at least call us rather on Monday.
If he can Skype us, we can Skype.
Cool. Okay. All right,
And
I'll let him know.
we could have him right up here in the box. We could put him right where Paul's head is.
Sounds good.
All right, friends. Have fun. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you back here next Monday.
Have a good one.